Hello and welcome back to the studio. I am super excited to be diving in this video. It is actually one of my first times being back in the studio seriously since I had our fourth son. He came early, was a little bit high maintenance at the beginning. He's fine now, but because of that, it's been a while since I've been in the studio. So I thought it might be fun to do this first serious drawing back together. So I've done a couple little doodles, but we're really diving in on full botanical illustration styles. So I have my paper here. This is just a mixed media paper. I'm using a half sheet, so it's not too overwhelming at first. I have a nice big white eraser for those big mistakes, my favorite pencil in HB lead, a kneaded eraser, and a small sharpener. All right, and in addition to these goodies, I also have my iPad right here, which I'll be using to keep the reference image handy. I'll have it on the screen for you to make things a little bit easier. All right, let's get started. This first part is light. I know, I'm sorry, but I did keep it in here because this is very real. I was feeling very uncomfortable, very timid, and so I'm just kind of drawing these light swoops. I had like a circle in the middle for that first section, and then I have these light swoops kind of showing me where I think the petals are gonna go later on. I call this technique mapping, but it's a great way if you keep it light to kind of gain a little bit of a confidence boost. So that's why I kept it in here. I also just wanted to show you just very real and raw moments for me. So even though I've been drawing for decades, but also drawing enough where I am teaching it. I have all the head knowledge. I have a lot of experience doing this, but after taking some significant time off, and really I didn't need to take almost a year off to feel this uncomfortable. This would have been really uncomfortable if it had been 6 months. Even 3 months would have been a little uncomfortable. Maybe not if I was doing other forms of art, so I still felt kind of loose. But it takes some time to get back into it. And if it has been a couple of years for you, it's going to take a little bit longer. But I do hope that you'll take this opportunity to practice. We have the same flower that we can work off of together, get some of that uncomfortable feeling out of our system, and I'll be sharing some tips and tricks along the way. So one thing you'll notice that I'm not doing is I'm not going for my eraser just yet. It can be really tempting. In fact, I even kind of automatically was reaching for my eraser. It can be tempting to do that, but the reason that I'm not is because sometimes you just got to rip off the Band-Aid. And that's kind of what I feel like I'm doing. I like completely missed. There's a petal in here, didn't draw it. So instead of going in here and adding it in or trying to move everything over, I'm just going to kind of include it here. And then this should be up here farther. And the reason I'm just going is that I'm trying to focus on just getting back into it, getting back onto the horse, getting back in with making lines. I'm getting my hand, which feels really uncomfortable right now,
back into the groove. I'm trying to, like this should be way up here, and it's not. And you know what? Only you and I are going to know, because when people look at this, they're going to see a flower, hopefully, at the end. They're not going to see that the petals are a little wonky. At least I hope not. We'll find out. I want to erase that because it's too curved, but it's all right.
I did want to take a moment to remind you that there is nothing wrong with using an eraser, and I will definitely be using an eraser on this piece. But the reason at this stage I'm pushing myself beyond that is so that I don't get stuck on one petal. I need to kind of exercise beyond this, kind of like if you're writing an essay, you don't want to get stuck on that first sentence, even though it's easy to do. It'd be better to write a crummy first sentence to get beyond to the rest of the essay so that you can come back and fix the first sentence after you've warmed up, after you know what tone and feel you want to have for the essay in general. So I keep saying that I'm not going to erase something, and I don't until later. But it's not, there isn't anything magical about not using eraser. I'm just pushing myself because I know my own weaknesses and tendencies. Now, if you're thinking to yourself, Katrina, I need a lot more help than you're providing here. This video isn't intended to be like a super big, tips and tricks video. I do have those though, and we will have one tomorrow. This one is kind of a pulling back the curtain, showing you a little bit of kind of real life, hopefully providing some encouragement if you feel like you're uncomfortable, just so that like my uncomfortable level is going to be a little bit different than yours, but just know I do have those uncomfortable drawing moments. And this is one of them. So I was excited to share with you some of my in real time thoughts and struggles, and to show you in tomorrow's video how I'm going to build off of this. But if you want more help, I really highly recommend my free flower drawing mini course. I go through 5 of my very favorite tips and tricks for drawing realistic botanicals. It really is my main course for kind of jump starting your artistic journey. So if you are interested in learning to draw flowers specifically, but really anything in a more realistic way and just up leveling your artistic journey, I highly recommend that course. Again, it's completely free, so you've got nothing to lose other than to learn and grow in your confidence and your ability to draw. I'll have all of that linked down below, but let's get back to drawing.
All right, I'm going to break from my reference image a little bit.
I didn't talk about it while I was recording, but oh man, this was the hardest part for me. I don't know why. These leaves were just so intimidating. I felt like they were not coming together. I didn't know what to do with my hands. I should have stuck with my reference image. I don't usually with leaves, but I really struggled with this. And in fact, this was like a month ago, maybe 2 months ago now. I'm still struggling with leaves. It's like I feel really overwhelmed when it's time to work on leaves, and that's not something I've had in the past. So, yeah, I didn't talk about it. I will mention how they look weird in a moment, but this was really uncomfortable for me, and it took me by surprise. So much so that I didn't process it enough to mention it in the video.
All right, and that's what we've got right now. So first things first, I wouldn't even say that this is necessarily, like done and ready for like, what are these improvements? I'm going to erase some of these initial pencil lines. I do always make them, especially if I'm starting out and I haven't drawn in a while. If I've been drawing consistently every day and it's just, I'm kind of in a rhythm, I don't need them. But definitely for something like this where I'm really uncomfortable, this is better than I expected. And it might be just, I was a little more relaxed because it would almost be better for the sake of this video if it turned out terrible. But this is fine. There are definitely things that did not go right that need to be fixed. But the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go in, I'm going to erase some of these fine lines. And I am using a kneaded eraser here just so that I can kind of manipulate it however I want to. You can use a white eraser this style, or I have a pencil eraser that is super nice. And then I'm going to take this time to also erase some of kind of my messed up lines, if you will. So there she is, my first drawing. I've got kind of some odd texture in here. I was trying to be light, and it mostly came out wobbly. You can see how irregular it is. I mean, it kind of works because of the texture of the leaves. So again, I'm not stressing about it, but it is something I'm going to have to work on again. Overall, like, it's fine. It doesn't read as well as it should. There's a lot of just kind of wonky petals and a lot of pokey things. So I think I got a little carried away with some of this texture in here. So in the next video, I'm going to show you how we're going to pull this together, how we can take this from it's fine to that looks really nice. And it's surprisingly easy. So if you did enjoy this video, I would appreciate it if you would give me a thumbs up and let me know in the comment section down below if you have any requests for future videos, whether it's kind of like this where I'm taking you behind the scenes, showing you how I improve things, showing you how I do things, or just even like a draw with me. I'd be happy to do that in the future. I hope that you are having a wonderful, wonderful day, and until next time, happy drawing.